My name is Julie. I've been working as a school psychologist for Fremont Unified School District since the year 2000. All the way from preschool to mission high, I worked with a different range of children. Please show me a raise of hand. How many of your children are in high school? Thank you very much for coming and joining me and join this discussion about success and mental health. Who knows what a school psychologist does? Most children don't know. Most parents don't know. The reason is that a school psychologist's role is to do a lot of testing when children are having trouble catching up keeping up with the class. Also, in the past, when the school has more funding, we also do gifted testing. So we do a lot of IQ tests. Most of our job is for testing to see whether children have any of the special education needs. Public schools serve children under 14 disability categories. So we do testing to see, we're the gatekeeper. So we try to find out whether children have any kind of learning disability or autism or behavior, emotional difficulty. So I had the opportunity, I had a privilege working with many of our children in our district. But since 2000, because we do so many IQ tests, when I first graduated from grad school, I was so focused on IQ because I thought this is great. Within an hour and a half, I can get a number, the number that describes your child's cognitive ability, which supposedly predict your achievement. But within 2 years, I was very disappointed. Yeah, I worked with more and more children whose achievement is so different from their cognitive ability. So started from 2002, I started to talk about emotional intelligence. That's why I read a lot. I said, what is predicting success and high achievers and what? So I talked about 10 years, and I thought that was my passion for about 10 years. 3 years back, I started working at Hopkins. The first year I worked at Hopkins Junior High, the summer, teachers always have a staff development before children can eat. So at the staff development, the teachers asked the principal, can we please focus on the concept of success? Like what is success? Why our community, the Hopkins community, we have so many, we have parents who have such a narrow perception of success. Why is that? So that's the year 2011. So that's when so they asked me, they said that it's impossible for teachers to work with students because a lot of this came from our community and our parents. So I did a survey. So they asked me to do a workshop for parents. Before I did my workshop, I did a survey, just random class. I didn't pick an honors class. I picked just the regular classes plus a yearbook, plus regular science and regular English. So I picked about 100 children, a mixture of 7th and 8th grade students. So I just did a very simple survey, no name, anonymous. So on one side of the index card, just write down your perception of success. On the other side, write down your parents' perception, or what do you think your parents' perception of success is. The results really confirmed the teachers' concerns. Because for the children, I was really impressed. 7th and 8th graders, 13, some even not 13, 14-year-old children, over half of them said that doing things that I enjoy to do, reach my goal. So they are focused on what they can accomplish, what they can do, basically. The other side of the survey, the parents' reactions, it was, I really appreciate those children sharing. Over almost 30% think that their parents want them to get straight A's, go to prestigious college. Take a guess. Hopkins has about 1,100 students. How many of them do you think has straight A's? Take a guess. 100%?
No. 100 students.
Oh, 100 students. Okay. Okay, you think more than that. Take another guess.
I don't know, 50?
Yeah. Maybe leave one open. Thank you very much. 15?
50.
50. Okay.
20%.
20%. Last guess.
10%.
10%. Okay. Very good. Very close. Much better than my last workshop. Last fall, I did one at Hopkins. One parent said 97%. Not 97%.
Not what we think we want.
See, imagine if you think that 97% of students in your community get straight A's. What are you gonna tell your tell your children? Imagine the kind of message, verbal or nonverbal, that you're gonna share with your. In fact, it's about 6%. 6%. So it's about 64 children out of 1,100. Yeah. So that's why last fall I told the Hopkins parents that I guess there are 20% disappointed parents because it's about 26% think that their children should get straight A's and only 6% do. And so that's and for other things, one child wrote on the back said that my parents want me to be an engineer, and that is one thing I don't want to be. Yeah, there's another girl. It was very I couldn't help laughing. Said, what's your parents' perception of success? First one, be a doctor. Parenthesis, marry a doctor. In one way, I understand those parents. I'm one of the Hopkins parents. I'm one of the mission parents too. I understand. We want the best for our children, right? We want the best. We will do anything for our parents, for our children. So it's but when we define success in that in that narrow perspective, it is going to have some impact on our children. So today we're going to focus on that. I'm not going to say recently our community across the bay, Woodside, Palo Alto, Mountain View, they have like 3 young people committed suicide. Very sad, very tragical. I'm not saying that it's all coming from parents. I do not. I want you to have that in mind. It's not a parent's fault. I work with children. I work with children with all ages, and I can tell you firsthand. For example, one of the child that I tested in high school, she is a gifted child. She developed anxiety disorder to the point that she couldn't come to school at all. We tried everything. We tried to reduce the schedule. We tried to just come in for one class, and I even went home to do testing for her. Couldn't. We can't blame parents for that because look at the triggers. On the surface, it looks like what happened? What triggered all this? Because the older sister, who's a junior, was not listening at home. So got into argument with the mother. And then the mother was so upset, and on the spur of the moment, of course she regrets that, poured some gas over her and burned herself. So, but on the surface you look like, oh, it's the mother's fault. No. Both the older sister and the younger sister witnessed that. The older sister, who actually caused that, because the older sister got into an argument, she was fine. Her reaction was normal. I'm so sorry, and called 911, all this apologetic, but did not develop any mental health issues. The younger daughter, on the other hand, since then, couldn't stand any the sirens, or couldn't see any picture of fire. So there are. I told the parents, I said, please don't blame yourself. It means that genetically, it's inside her. If it doesn't happen now, probably happen in the future with other triggers. We're just so appreciative that it happened now when she's still living with you, so we can help her. So that's why I don't want, there are so many media pressure on parents saying that, oh, this happened, the child with 2,400 SAT. Well, why you put so much pressure on elite colleges? Many times, even for this case that just happened September 24th, it was not. You're looking back and they repeatedly saying the parents did not put pressure. I think they were more leaning towards the pressure from peers. The child developed pressure on himself, and there's some other reasons too. So I don't want to say something bad happened, it's the parents' fault. There are many other reasons, and I wish that we have a discussion and understanding from this talk. Yeah. Today's agenda. So what is success? What is mental health? Adverse effects of narrow perception of success on mental health, and also the guidelines. That's all. That's all we're going to talk about. we already started on this topic. What is success? Yeah. Earlier I had shared a little bit with you. I think we do. 7% of the children that I surveyed told me that they don't know. They don't know what their parents' perception is. But for many, you can see whatever we are saying, talking, things that we don't pay attention to may come out of our even nonverbal language. They are watching. They are watching. Yeah. There is a big survey of teenagers in America. About 87% of children guess what they think that their hero is. Parents. They do listen. They do listen. So I think we should think ourselves. We should have a clear idea, and that idea is coming out through our interaction with our children. Yeah. So, what is success? Is Robin Williams successful? Very much. Yeah. He's one of my favorite actors. This is all the award that he has won. Yeah. Depression. That was the reason. Depression. Yeah. Mental health issues. Do you know Iris Chan? Yeah. In about a couple of weeks, it's 10 years anniversary of her passing. She's one of my favorite writers. She wrote a book, The Rape of Nanking. I met her when I was a doctoral student at Temple University. That was a new book release, and she was giving a talk. Great author and journalist. So each year is about 4,000 out of 30,000 young people die of suicide. Most of them. The statistics are a little different, but it's 75% or even more. So that's 75% or more have mental health issues. Yeah. So out of the whole American population, take a guess where suicide is ranking in the population, general population. The reason for death. Where does suicide rank?
The fourth lead?
Fourth?
Third?
Third? Second. Out of the whole general population, the entire population concluded only 11th. Only 11th. The top ones are all what? Physical reasons. Heart attack, yes. All. So that's way more than suicide. Only number 11. But between age 15 to 24, what's the rank?
Number one.
Number one. Number third. What's number one? What's number one for teenagers?
Accidents?
Accidents. Yes, accidents. Because you look at your high schoolers, they're taller than you. Yeah, their voice is loud, and they are so big. But don't be blinded. Their brain, the most important part of the brain, the frontal lobe, is the last developed part of your brain. And guess where their part is in charge of? That is in charge of planning, judgment, and all these things that doesn't fully develop until, I used to think back in the grad school, the books always tell us, the end of teenager years, 17, 18. But later on I found out that more safely 25. So, because prior to that, they do things, their impulse control is not there. That's why accidents is the number one reason, number one killer for teenagers. Yeah. How about elite universities? We are all so focused on success. This is from Harvard's own newspaper, Harvard Crimson. Yeah, the average for college students, suicide is 6.18 out of 100,000. Look at Harvard, 18.18. That's counting current enrolled students. And 24.24, many students after they enter college, and if they have a problem, they take a leave of absence. That's fine. But most of these children, they do have they couldn't handle that anymore. They can take a leave of absence. If you count those Harvard students, it's 3 times more. Yeah. Yeah, this is Cornell and Princeton. Yeah, if you check the data in Stanford, the same thing. It's about 20%. 20%. So when we do the suicide studies, every single study you go to, they will tell you, every one child or young adult who really killed himself or herself, behind that, there are at least 100 children who tried and didn't succeed. So many more children have suicidal thoughts, but they didn't succeed or tried or attempts. Yeah. So those are the, I used to think that you can detect the signs. You can detect the signs by looking at a child. Until I worked in Mission High School, one day, one student, I often see her because she's beautiful. Every time I see her, from head to toe, matching clothes, long hair. I knew her because I have some autistic children that need a friend. So I went to peer resources class. I asked, who can help me? I have one child with autism who doesn't have anyone to eat lunch with. Can you find someone? Because peer resources class, they are full of student leaders. They want to help others. That's why they took that class. And teacher recommended her. Beautiful. So I knew her. And then she was always the one who helps, always smiles. And then until one day, she was pushed into my office by her friend. She was crying nonstop. And I couldn't believe it. After she shared with me, she said she already committed suicide once, and she's very worried that she's going to try it again because she just couldn't hold it anymore. I told her later on, after we got familiar with each other, I told her, I said that you always look so perfect. You always dress so beautifully. I couldn't tell anything. She told me, she said, the days that I dress most beautiful are the days that I feel the worst. I'm just trying to cover it up. I couldn't tell. So since then, I decided I cannot judge by looking at a student. You never know. Every child has a story. Don't think that they just come to school with a backpack. They have a lot more in their head than what's in their backpack. Yeah. So what is mental health? Going back to our topic here. A mental health, this is WHO defined it. And I feel like, isn't that what I want for my child? To be able to realize his own ability, can cope with the normal stress of life, can work productively, and is able to make a contribution to his community. That's what I want for my child. Isn't that what we want for all of our younger generation? Why it's important? Yeah. Because when you're mentally healthy, a lot of parents, they have misunderstandings of mental health. They feel like, oh, my child does not have a mental illness. That means he's mentally healthy. Is that right? Yeah, mental illness, no mental illness, that's great. Doesn't mean that he has a sense of contentment. Is he happy with this? So this is a very good book if you have time to read it. Authentic Happiness. They summarized, it's all in the handout, so I'm holding on to the handout until the end. So they summarized all the studies on happiness in the past 30, 40 years. They find out very simple. You want to be happy right now? Just the two simple situations. You're content, you're happy, you're content with what happened in the past. You have hope for the future, and then you can be happy in the present. That's all. Is your child happy with their past? Does your child have hope for the future? They believe that, yes, things may be tough right now, but I know that tomorrow or my future is going to be better. So that's the basics for mental health. The ability to deal with stress and bounce back from adversity. Yeah. How many of us sitting down here, we're all adults, how many of you never had any, please raise your hand, never had any difficulty at job, or never was fired, or never had any crisis in marriage? Please raise your hand. Do you feel like, out of your experience, do you think it's fair or it's reasonable for us to give our children the impression that life is perfect, or study, or the transcript should be perfect, or the life should be like your report card. Everything should be crispy A's. When you go to a baseball, or when you go to basketball, when you go to chess, anything, is that reasonable to expect wins at all times? Yeah. So that's why, what kind of message are we giving to our children? So how do they bounce back from adversity if we protected them so much that they never experienced any adversity? Yeah. Before they go to college, if they believe and that's their experience, yes, you look at my transcript, look at my extracurricular activities, I'm leader here, I'm a winner there. Do you think they are prepared for the real life? I went to, last September, there was a educational expo in Santa Clara Convention Center. They invited a high schooler. He's a graduate from Lynbrook High, and he was going to University of Michigan. I was really touched by his sharing. He told us, he said that my best friend who graduated from Lynbrook High the year before was a top student, went so advanced in math that he wins everything. Every math and science competition in the nation, he wins it. No problem, he went to Harvard. And the first class that he took in Harvard, he called his friend. He said, Frank, I sit in this class, I don't know a thing. I don't know a thing. Even for students that smart, that advanced, one day they're going to sit in one class that they don't know. They feel like they don't know. So no matter how smart your child is, they will face a job situation or a college class or a grad school project that they are not going to feel, I can get it like this.